Perfectly baked cakes, dual rack baking.
Hello bakers! Today we'll learn how to adjust the baking time and temperature when baking cakes on both racks in the oven. This can be a real time saver, especially when you need to bake multiple cakes at once.
Understanding heat distribution.
First, let's get to know our oven. Ovens heat from the bottom, causing the upper rack to be cooler than the bottom one. This can cause uneven baking if not managed properly. Your mission is to ensure that both cakes bake evenly, despite the temperature difference. One way to do this is by rotating the cakes halfway through the baking time.
Preparing your oven.
Next, you'll want to preheat your oven to the temperature stated in the recipe. If your oven has the option, use the convection setting, which circulates the heat more evenly. However, if you're not using a convection oven, consider reducing the temperature by 25 degrees Fahrenheit, about 15 degrees Celsius, to prevent the cake on the lower rack from browning too quickly.
Baking your cakes.
As for the baking process itself, position one rack in the upper third of the oven and the other in the lower third. Put the cakes in the oven and set your timer for half the recommended baking time. Once the timer goes off, swap the positions of the cakes. The one on the upper rack goes on the lower rack and vice versa. Also, turn them 180 degrees to ensure they bake evenly. After rotating, bake for the remaining time. However, be aware that when baking on two racks, it might take a little longer than the recipe states.
Testing your cakes.
After the total baking time, test each cake individually for doneness using a cake tester or toothpick. Insert it into the cake. If it comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs, your cake is done. Remember, each cake may finish baking at a different time, so always test them separately. And that's how you can bake multiple cakes at once using both racks in your oven. With these tips, you'll be able to adjust your baking time and temperature accordingly for perfect, evenly baked cakes every time. Happy baking!